Hi, I'm Teresa Kittridge, your host of the 100 Rural Women podcast, where I've set out to interview 100 women doing amazing things for our rural communities. I'm super excited to welcome Teresa Vetter, and Teresa is the founder of American Rehab. My relationship to Teresa is we grew up in the same town. We went to the same school, high school, and I came across a post about the work that Teresa was doing, American Rehab, and I reached out to her and checked in and just wanted to know more about what she was doing and asked her if she'd be willing to come on our podcast and talk about her work. And I'm just really excited to have you here with us, Teresa. So we'll just jump right into it if that's okay. And I'd like to
Sure.
start our podcast with a question of share a lesson you learned from, somebody influential in your life.
Yes. Uh, Probably the most influential person in my life was my dad. And if I could sum it up in one word, he taught me persistence. Don't give up. And that has, and another thing was never be able to ask people um, about something or to do something. And that has opened more doors for me, not being afraid to ask, has made a big difference in my life.
And I hear you, because you know what? If you don't ask, they don't know. So
Right.
I agree. That's really good advice. And when I think about you and your work and the community that you're serving, you know, I just think American Rehab is just an
Mhm.
amazing undertaking. Can you talk a little bit about American Rehab and tell us a little bit more?
Sure, but first, I'd really like to say thank you for inviting me here today. It's great to see you. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm proud of the important work that you are accomplishing with 100 Rural Women. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. American Rehab's message is simple. Addiction is real, and so is recovery. Right now, there are more than 45 million people in the United States who are living with substance use disorder, and fewer than 10% are receiving the help they need. Resources are out there, but what good is a resource if people don't know about it or can't find it when they need it? And that is where American Rehab steps in. American Rehab is a nationwide resource network that brings together multiple pathways to recovery all in one place. It helps educate and connect people to practical resources in both crisis and non crisis situations. Many of these resources are free, low cost, or covered by insurance. Part of American Rehab's mission is to reduce random searches online for help. Too often, people spend hours jumping from one website to another, accomplishing very little other than added confusion and stress. And I know because I've done it. I spent many nights over several years staying up till 4 in the morning searching for help for my son. Far too often, random searches take you to misleading, unethical, or profit-driven websites, especially when it comes to treatment. People do not have the luxury of wasting critical time and energy when help is needed for themselves, a child, a grandchild, a parent, a spouse, or a friend. Finding timely help can literally mean the difference between someone going to jail versus entering treatment or preventing an overdose. American Rehab takes you from a random search to a focused one, where you will find multiple pathways to recovery.
How did American Rehab get started? Tell us the story.
My son, Jack, died of an overdose in 2020. He was 26 years old and had been living with addiction for over a decade. That year, he was one of more than 92,000 Americans who died of an overdose. When Jack died, I didn't just lose my son. I lost my sense of purpose. The day after he died, I heard a distinct voice in my head that said, "Right," as in WRITE. At the time, I did not know or care what it meant. But over the next year, the word kept repeating itself over and over, and it became impossible to ignore. Eventually, I came to trust that right wasn't just a random word, it was a message. At first, I thought it meant I should write Jack's story. I tried for months, but it was too painful. I could not do it. It wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. But while I'd been attempting to write Jack's story, there was a fair amount of research involved. And along the way, I kept finding valuable recovery resources. Some I knew about, and many I didn't. So I started saving them. And it didn't take long before there were hundreds. And that is when it dawned on me. Writing about and sharing resources is what I was meant to be doing, helping people avoid random searches. And that realization set the stage for what American Rehab became. And also, around that same time, I watched the movie Hacksaw Ridge, the true story of Desmond Doss, a heroic World War II Army medic who kept returning to the battlefield without a weapon to rescue wounded soldiers. Each time he went back, he'd say, "Lord, help me get one more." That idea, just one more, stayed with me and became my mantra. Keep searching for just one more resource. It may be the one that helps just one more person. What started out as hundreds of resources became thousands, making it easier for people to explore and find what works for them. I now recognize that American Rehab is exactly what I'm meant to be doing. It's given me a renewed sense of purpose, and it's transforming the infinite depth of my grief into something that can offer hope to others.
Yeah, I hear you, and it's an incredible resource, and folks need to check out the website americanrehab.org. It's just chock full of resources. And we're going to talk a little bit more about those resources later, but um what a what a journey you are on, and finding your sense of purpose is just, it's incredible. So I'm I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for all of us that you've created this. And can you talk a little bit more about what is, what and who is American Rehab for? I mean, when you think about your audience, who you're looking to engage and help.
Well, American Rehab is for anyone who's been touched by substance use, which is most people these days. And they've generally fall into three main groups. First, it's for people who are facing substance use challenges themselves. Some are actively looking for help, others don't know where to start, some aren't ready yet, others can't afford certain types of care. American Rehab helps people see the many options that are out there side by side. And second, it's for family members and friends who want to help a loved one, but they don't know how. And they often need support themselves. Navigating addiction and recovery can be overwhelming, and a lot of people don't realize how many support options are out there just for family and friends. And American Rehab makes them easy to find. And third, the website is for professionals, clinicians, peer recovery specialists, case managers, drug court personnel, and others working in the community. Most of these professionals are resources themselves, but they also need reliable places to send people to for additional support, often referred to as wraparound services. American Rehab helps professionals spend less time searching and more time helping those who need it.
I I'm just excited to be able to share the resources that you've got in your website, and we'll share the screen now on the podcast for folks that are viewing it. But on our website, we'll have all of these links and everything with the podcast, so people can check out your website and check out the different resources. And I'm going to pop up on the screen now. And again, we will definitely have all this on the our website when we share out this podcast. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about your website and the resources that you have out there?
So, the Find Help Now section is the most important section on the website. And there are no other websites out there that gather as many pathways to recovery and resources together as American Rehab does. Recovery looks different for everyone. What works for one person may not work for another. Addiction is a medical condition, and few people can navigate it alone. Treatment is one pathway, and it is an important one, but it's not the only one. Recovery often involves a combination of resources working together over a period of time. The key is helping people find what fits their individual needs. Because addiction is isolating, human connection is essential to recovery. For some people, that first connection might be an anonymous helpline, a recovery support group, a peer recovery specialist, a crisis center, or medicated assisted treatment. Or it could be a recovery community organization, harm reduction services, recovery housing, or other support that opens the door. Telehealth and virtual options have also expanded access to resources, especially for people living in rural areas or others who might not physically be able to reach help.
Yeah, and that's such a good point with, our main audience is rural women, but we, reach a very broad audience, and just access to recovery resources for rural people can really be problematic. So a resource like this is amazing that's online. And I know you talked a little bit about certified peer recovery specialists. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Certified peer recovery specialists are my heroes. They are people who are in recovery themselves and have received specialized training to help support others. They understand addiction and recovery in ways that only someone with lived experience can. At some point, someone helped them, and now they want to give back. And by supporting all pathways to recovery, peer recovery specialists often show up when no one else does, filling in critical gaps in care. You might find them helping someone arrange recovery housing before they leave treatment, or taking a person to a recovery support meeting because they're unable to drive, or you might find a peer recovery specialist in a hospital room. Reaching out to someone who's being discharged after an overdose, someone who's traumatized and has no idea what to do next. These specialists do not replace clinical care or treatment, but they serve to strengthen it. They make sure people don't have to face recovery alone or are forgotten. They are improving and transforming the addiction and recovery landscape in ways that others cannot.
And I think, just to reiterate, AmericanRehab.org is the website where you can find out, more about Teresa, her story, the resources, what she's dedicated the last few years of her life, and really channeled. I mean, you've channeled your grief into such a positive outcome for so many people. What else would you want to share with folks that are listening in today, that you think would be helpful?
Just a few final thoughts. American Rehab is a national nonprofit organization. It's independent. There are no hidden agendas, and there is no advertising. The work is made possible through donations. And I'd like to say to anyone out there who's facing the daily challenges of addiction, people who may feel lost, sick, or alone, I want to say 3 words: never give up. There are amazing, dedicated people out there who care, and they're ready to help now. And you can find many of them through American Rehab. And one final note: there will always be just one more resource to add, because it may be the one that helps someone when they need it the most. And that is what truly matters.
Yeah, that's a great point to close. I just think I just feel so fortunate with 100 Row Women to be able to, connect and to reconnect with, like, you and I haven't seen each other for years, and just to our whole purpose of this podcast is, how can women be better informed? How can they see somebody's journey and see, oh, that's how she dealt with that, or that's how she overcame that. Gosh, I could do that. So I just want people to really, we'll share, as I said, we'll share all the resources on our website. So I always like to close with a question, Teresa, with people. I mean, I always think about our younger selves, which we talked about, but, what gives you hope for the future when you think about things? What really gives you the hope for the future?
My son. I feel very connected to Jack, and he's my inspiration. Yeah. I love you
Uh,
very much.
I love it. I love that's your inspiration. And I just can't thank you enough for, coming on today and talking about this. I know this is hard to talk about, but my gosh, what you've created is so incredible. So please know that how many people that this is helping, and we are so excited to share out these resources, and so happy you took the time today to spend with us to talk about your work and your life and about Jack. So
Yeah.
you, anything else before we close out, Teresa, that you can think of?
Just want to say I'm very grateful for our conversation, and thank you so much for helping me spread the word about American Rehab.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again so much, Teresa Vetter, and looking forward to see folks next time, and to share more resources.
Thank you very much.